Gotta bring your bag in. I know a lot of drivers use their bags, but they don't bring them in the restaurant. But the food does start getting cold the minute they hand it to you. And doesn't it feel a little more, I don't know, professional to bring them in the restaurant? Especially want to have the bag when it's snowing or otherwise really cold. God, this is crazy. Some restaurants like Pizza Hut actually often, especially DoorDash, require us to take a picture of the bag in the restaurant to prove that we have it. So that's an external motivation. But I think it's just good to do it. Better customer service and makes you feel better about yourself as a driver, at least in my experience. Another thing you can do to build a good rapport with your customer is to send a photo and a short message to them before you arrive at their house or business. Take a picture of the insulated bag with the food in it in the back of your car, in the back seat, for example. And just let them know you're on your way. They know that you're on the way because their app shows where you are on a map, but it's more personal to add your personal photo and message. But to counter that, I would not overshare, like over communicate and wear the person out. Some people will be annoyed, but worse, they might start thinking you're kind of a soft-hearted weirdo that's willing to do almost anything for money, for a small amount of money, and they might ask you for extra this, extra that. Then they may want to talk about more personal weird issues. So, you know, keep it business-like, but just that little extra touch. Don't worry about your acceptance rate. My wife had to convince me of this years ago when I used to accept every little order that came along, especially the first couple of weeks. I mean, a person who's new is insecure and they want to prove to the company that they are loyal, flexible, that they're their go-to driver, always available for whatever. It didn't take long though to realize that I could take 5 or 6 small, cute little orders that were $3, $2.50, $4, and then you start looking at the mileage, and you start realizing you're losing money and burning out your car, and you might clear $20 an hour, but what are you wearing out in terms of all that stop and go wear and tear on your car? And I don't know, my wife must have picked it up looking on forums on Facebook or YouTube where drivers were saying acceptance rate is not the thing. It's always going to be completion rate, especially with DoorDash. You want to get about 90% or above, and preferably 95% or above on that completion rate. They want to know you're a person that will show up on time, get the order, drop it off on time or early, 100% from start to finish. They'd rather you do that than accept 9 out of 10 every offers that comes over through the app, and then you end up flaking out a third of the time. That'll get you deactivated. As soon as you start dropping below 90% on a completion rate, you're at risk of getting these draconian, scary emails that you might be deactivated if you can't explain yourself. Uber Eats is just as concerned about completion rate, but they're not as on you all the time about time. So DoorDash is the one you got to really be aware of all that stuff. Don't get stranded on Pluto, because Pluto don't got no restaurants or stores. There's nothing out there, which means you'll drive even with the lucrative, like say $19 order from McDonald's. That may sound good to take just a small order all the way up to a beautiful condominium at a ski resort. But the problem is, at the top of the mountain, there's no restaurant, no lodge, no Safeway that's going to give you an order to come back with. So you're coming all the way back down the mountain at great cost, both in terms of the money and in terms of time. So unless the order's insanely lucrative, don't go to Pluto. It's a one-way dead end. Hi, another tip I've found helpful to implement is to use at night, especially when you're going into RV parks, apartment complexes, any place where addresses can be obscured or confusing, is use a very moderate power spotlight. This one's the kind that plugs in at the bottom and it goes into like a USB cord. You can charge it at home, charge it in your car. And there's other kinds. The only thing about these is they kind of look like a handgun, so it's good to hold it a certain way. And I definitely wouldn't put it up to the window until you have the light on, because otherwise certain people in certain neighborhoods might overreact. Anyway, I'm in an RV park now and I'm having trouble telling which one is, what did he say? Unit 44. Let's take a look. What I do is don't shine it in people's windows for any prolonged period of time. All you want to do is look for the number. Mission accomplished, turn the darn thing off. 44, there it is. Another tip, you're bringing the order to the door. The customer tells us, leave it at the door. I don't want to see you. Let's see what we can do here. Now, what's wrong with this picture? Person opens the door to the outside. It's going to push the groceries all over the ground. Or worse, if there's too many, they might not even be able to get the door open. So position the food in such a way, lower, or perhaps over to the side like on a table. Leaving the door free to open. Yep, been a while since I've received a bag that had no stickers, no staples, nothing. So, I mean, it's kind of creepy because you can just get in there and kind of get the fries and the hamburger and start stealing it and coughing on it, basically contaminating it. So when a place does that, doesn't seal the bag properly, you can take it like that, take your handy stapler you can buy anywhere, and you staple it, like so. Well, those are some of my favorite tips. If I left anything off, which I know I did, there's thousands and thousands of delivery drivers out there around the world, and there are things I'm still learning, little tiny things I'm like, why didn't I think of that 5 years ago, 3 years ago? It's amazing how we get these habits and we become way too used to the systems that we have. So any other advice, throw it down in the comments so that we can all benefit from it. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to hit like or subscribe or both. And we'll see you next time down the road.